I usually try and stay away from saying I enjoy and in my opinion when I do these videos, because when I watch wrestling nowadays when I watch wrestling, I don't just watch as a fan. I watch as an analyst, I watch as a critic, I watch as an individual who's looking to pinpoint every little solitary detail within the show that we've watched. So I usually try and stay away from saying, in my opinion, and, oh, I enjoyed this or I didn't enjoy that. I usually try and stick to the truth, stick to the facts, and tell you guys what is truthfully and factually good, bad, beneficial, and or detrimental to the overall show. However, I'm just going to say this one thing and this one thing only, and this is the only time I'm going to say this throughout the entire video. I actually enjoyed Payback more so than I did SummerSlam. If I'm going to be quite honest, I actually enjoyed Payback more so than I did SummerSlam. I really did. I did. Payback, ultimately, it could very well go down as the second best main roster pay-per-view of the year. SummerSlam, if you look back on it, realistically, it was just a four-match show. Outside of Bayley and Asuka, Sasha and Asuka, Drew and Orton, and Dominic and Rollins, the show would have been horrible without those four matches. Those four matches really made the show good. But Payback, for a pay-per-view 1 week after SummerSlam, for a pay-per-view that we expected absolutely nothing from, a pay-per-view that a lot of us went into with absolutely no expectations, actually turned out to be fairly good. Fairly good. For the most part, we got the right outcomes. The show flew by. 2.5 hours flew by. The match placement was correct. Obviously, there was a lot of bad, and I'm going to tell you what was truthfully bad, so strap in your seatbelts. I got my Ernst & Young mug here. I got that. I'm all set. Got my notes here. 3 glorious pages of notes. We're going to dissect this 8-match card. But ultimately, by the end of it, Payback was a fairly good pay-per-view. Did it need to happen after SummerSlam so quickly? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Matter of fact, it should not have happened 1 week after SummerSlam. But for what we got, the pay-per-view was fairly good, fairly watchable. For the most part, we got some great wrestling. For the most part, every outcome was correct. Even with the horrible matches, for the most part, the outcome was correct. And we're going to talk about the horrible matches. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who I am, I really don't know if you're living under a rock or whatever. Ladies and gents, I am the one and only DJ Storms. Welcome back to the channel here on YouTube.com. This is the rewind for WWE Payback 2020, which of course streamed live on the WWE Network last night with the pre-show starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We are going to go over the 8-match card that we saw at Payback. We're going to go over the good, the bad, the ugly. Of course, it is Monday, August 31st, the last day of August, as we close out the summer. We close out the summer of 2020. I have a lot of things to do this month specifically. We got some videos to make. Of course, we will be doing a rundown for AEW All Out 2020. Of course, we will do a live Lightning Flash update this Saturday. Yes, a live LFU this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to see what else I can do for the Lightning Flash updates going forward, because for the next couple of weeks, we're just going to be doing LFUs. At least until we get to Clash of Champions. For the next couple of weeks, we're just going to be doing LFUs on Saturday. I'm going to see if we could do something else. maybe spice things up a little bit. I'll keep you guys updated, but I do have a busy week. I have to go in for a procedure on Wednesday. To check how much healing has gone on with my intestinal disease, so please send your thoughts and prayers there. I did get my COVID test back. It was negative. Thank God. If you guys do not already follow me on Twitter, of course we got to get through the self-brand promotion and advertisements before we get into the festivities here on the Rewind. Please follow me on Twitter at HistoryMakerDJS. Please follow me on Instagram and Periscope. Links are in the description, as well as my Facebook. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is. All the links are in the description. Please go check them out. I want you guys to hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Hit that like button if you haven't already done so. I got goals I want to reach. Please help me get this video to 25, 30 thumbs up. And when you like, you got to keep the conversation going in the chat. Please keep the conversation going in the chat. And of course, when you keep that conversation going in the chat, if you haven't already done so, you got to hit the subscribe button. I got goals to reach. I'm trying to grow. And of course, when you hit the subscribe button, you got to hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube. It's the only time where you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache. Hang on just one second. Do I have it? I do have it. Come on. I had to do it. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion and the advertisements. We're going to get straight into the festivities. We got 8 matches to dissect. I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, as I said. I'm going to talk about where the competitors will go after Payback. Of course, we got Monday Night Raw tonight. We got the pre-show, starting off with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott versus the Iconics. This match was terrible. Undoubtedly the worst match on the show. Rightfully deserved to be on the pre-show. The Iconics, I said it once and I'll say it again, 2 of the absolute worst women's wrestlers on the face of this planet. They do not make their opponents look good at all. They actually made Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan look bad. And that sucks because Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan can actually go. And I feel so bad for them that they were reduced to this shitty angle with the Iconics. They're not even good heels. Please, do not give me this bullshit of, oh, you hate them, so they're doing your job. No. You see, this is why I'm on YouTube and you are sitting behind your computer screens at 2 a.m. stuffing your face with Whoppers. Okay? The Iconics have go-away heat. People aren't booing them. People are not hating on the Iconics because the Iconics are good heels. They're not hating on the Iconics because the Iconics are beating up the lovable baby faces. Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan are not any more over than they were originally by feuding with the Iconics. The Iconics are being booed, and the Iconics are being hated on because they are terrible wrestlers, they're terrible at cutting promos, and they're terrible at selling. They can't wrestle, they can't sell, they can't cut promos. They are annoying. That means that the audience, the majority of the audience with brains, legitimately does not want to see them on any wrestling shows that they watch. You see, heels, they're booed because we want to see them get their asses kicked. We don't want to see the Iconics get their asses kicked by anyone. We want to see the Iconics off of television. When you legitimately don't want to be seen, that's go-away heat, which means you are a flop. The Iconics are a flop. I did not take any notes on this match. Liv Morgan and Riott, they won with a codebreaker Riott kick combination. This match went 10 minutes. 10 minutes. This match went longer than Drew Gulak and Cesaro on the WrestleMania pre-show. This match went longer than Andrade and Apollo on the Backlash pre-show. This match went longer than Kevin Owens and Murphy on the Extreme Rules pre-show. And this match went longer than Apollo Crews and MVP on the SummerSlam kickoff. Matter of fact, this match went longer than the kickoff match to the main show between Lashley and Apollo Crews. Now, I am all for Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott getting more time in the ring to showcase what they can do. I want to see them gain more opportunities. I'd be an idiot if I told you that I do not want to see Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan gain more opportunities, but if you're telling me that you want to see a 10-minute match with the fucking Iconics, come on. That is fucking pathetic. Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott win, rightfully so. Now, can we please get them away from the Iconics? Can we get the Iconics on the unemployment line? And can we get Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott in the women's tag team title hunt? Get the titles on them. You already fucked up the plans for the women's tag team championships, which I'm going to talk about later. But please, can we get Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott in a women's tag team title match? And can we just give the titles to them? I'd much rather see the titles on them than Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, which we will talk about in a minute. Terrible, terrible fucking match. Undoubtedly the worst match on the show. Right winners, but a terrible match. Main show kicked off with Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews for the United States Championship. For the 8 minutes that it was, this was actually a fairly good United States Championship match. I'm not going to lie right here. This was probably Bobby Lashley's best match of the summer. Outside of his match with Drew McIntyre. Outside of his match with Drew McIntyre, this was actually a fairly good United States Championship match for the 8 minutes that it was. We had Bobby Lashley gaining control over Apollo. We had Apollo coming back with an enziguri. Crews with a big crossbody. He did not go for the pin. Lashley got caught with a spinebuster and a standing moonsault for 2. Crews with 2 German suplexes and a beautiful frog splash. Another close 2 count. Lashley caught Crews with a pop-up spinebuster, then locked in the full Lashley, or the full Nelson, for the win. And Bobby Lashley wins the United States Championship. Good match. Not gonna lie, good match. Wrong winner. Now, I understand that Bobby Lashley's been doing great, but at the end of the day, I've said it once and I'll say it again, the majority of the individuals in the wrestling community, I'm sorry, no matter if you are a supporter of Bobby Lashley or not, and I love how Bobby Lashley has looked over the course of the entire summer. Bobby Lashley's looked very good, but at the end of the day, the majority of the wrestling community are not going to take Bobby Lashley seriously in a singles role. They're not going to get behind him in a singles role. I scrolled down my Twitter timeline and saw all these people saying, Lashley wins as expected, Lashley wins as expected, Lashley wins as expected. If he won as expected, that does not mean that they're getting behind him. They're just saying that, yeah, the match was good, but it was predictable. People are indifferent to Bobby Lashley, and the reason why is because of how WWE has booked him outside of the last 3 months. Apart from the last 3 months, Lashley's entire run has been jack shit. It's been jack shit. So why is anyone supposed to get behind Bobby Lashley if WWE didn't decide to get behind Bobby Lashley up until now? The only thing that the majority of the wrestling community would care about in terms of Bobby Lashley goes as a singles guy is a match with Brock Lesnar. That's it. That's it. Outside of that, there's nothing for Bobby Lashley to do as a singles guy that would legitimately get people invested. And the only reason why he's the United States Champion is because of the fact that he wasn't going to win the WWE Championship from McIntyre. He shouldn't have won the title from Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre should not be losing the title until next year. He wasn't going to win the WWE Championship. And more likely than not, they were planning Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam of this year. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because of the simple fact that Brock Lesnar does not want to work these matches, whether it be in the Thunderdome or the PC. He didn't want to work these matches in front of no one but PC recruits and virtual fans. And on top of that, WWE's protocol for COVID-19 is jack shit. Probably the worst of any wrestling company that's operating right now. And there's only 3 wrestling companies that are operating right now during this time. So Brock Lesnar's like, fuck this, I am not going to risk my health and the health of my family. So this was a consolation prize for Bobby Lashley. And it sucks. It sucks for Apollo Crews because he held the title for what, 97 days? 97 days. And what does he have to show for it? Nothing. Nothing. Lashley should be showcased in the tag team division with Shelton Benjamin on Monday Night Raw because WWE needs tag teams. Now who are they going to have face the Street Profits after the match at SummerSlam with Andrade and Angel Garza? Are you going to have Rey Mysterio and Dominic? Are you going to have a rematch with Andrade and Garza? Why not build up Lashley and Benjamin as a solid heel tag team? Get Benjamin away from the fucking 24/7 championship. Keep MVP out of a wrestling ring and put Bobby Lashley in the tag team division away from the mid-card and actually focus on fucking pushing new stars like Apollo Crews. 97 days and he has nothing to showcase for it. And I predicted Apollo Crews would not make it past the summer with the United States Championship, and I was right. And it sucks. It really does suck. I feel terrible for Apollo Crews. Good match. Good match. I'm not going to lie. It was a good match. But at the end of the day, Bobby Lashley winning the U.S. title was nothing more than a consolation prize for him. And it means that Apollo Crews is going straight back to catering. Whether or not he attacked Bobby Lashley afterwards saying, oh, I'll get that title back, I'll get that title back. It don't matter. Apollo should have won. And he should have been done with the Hurt Business. You already have plans set out. It apparently looks like you have plans set out to have Murphy feud with Rollins. Why couldn't you have had Apollo Crews retain, and then Murphy could have beaten Rollins in their feud, and then Murphy could have been the one to take the U.S. title off Apollo Crews? I don't understand that. I don't understand. You want to push new stars, but here you go. A 40-plus-year-old Bobby Lashley is the United States champion. 97 days, and Apollo Crews has absolutely nothing to showcase for that 97-day reign as U.S. champion outside of him losing it to Lashley at the start of Payback in a fairly good match. Big E versus Sheamus. Now, I was actually surprised that they started the show off fairly good with a good U.S. title match, and now we went into Big E and Sheamus. This was very fucking hard-hitting. This was very good. We had Sheamus targeting the knee of Big E. Sheamus actually worked on Big E with some inverted sharpshooters in this match. Some knee drops to the knee of Big E. Big E came back with a couple of belly-to-bellies. We had a Uranagi out of the corner for it, too. Sheamus with a slingshot shoulder tackle on Big E. Big E, he was caught with an Alabama slam. Fierce Alabama slam for a 2 count. We had Big E hitting Sheamus with a spear through the ropes. Both men hit hard. Sheamus came in with a step-up knee strike to Big E. Big E sold it like he fucking died. He caught the knee right under the jaw, and he penciled himself and fell. That was a nasty fucking knee. Sheamus' strikes are fucking brutal. We had Big E catching Sheamus when Sheamus actually went for the bro kick. A big power bomb by Big E and a big ending for the win on Sheamus. And Big E gets the win, as he should. This was a very, very, very good match. One of the better matches of Payback. And I would really like to believe that Big E is going to achieve success as a singles guy, but I can't do that. I can't get behind it. I can't get behind Big E achieving success as a singles guy, and I'll tell you why. I've seen a lot of people calling Big E versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 37. And that's a great idea. That's excellent. That's probably one of the best routes to go for the Universal Championship. You got Roman Reigns now playing a heel. You got Big E, new rising star. You can push a new star. You could have Big E possibly win the Rumble. He could either win the Rumble or he could win the Elimination Chamber. He goes on to WrestleMania and he beats Roman Reigns for the Universal title. I would not mind that at all. I think that would be a great match between the two. That would be an excellent showcase for Big E. That would be an excellent opportunity for Big E working with someone like Roman Reigns, especially in this new heel role. Big E would get that much more over by defeating Roman Reigns. But I can't get behind it, and I'll tell you why. The promos that Big E was cutting on Talking Smack with The Miz for the past couple weeks, those were excellent. Matter of fact, that's the Big E that we need to see. That Big E has charisma, energy, and that Big E's entertaining, but that Big E maintains the same level of focus. He maintains that same level of severity, and that's ultimately what we need. Whether you want to admit it or not, if Big E does not ditch the New Day antics, he's not going to be taken seriously as a singles guy. That's part of the reason why Kofi's WWE Championship reign was jack shit. Part of the reason was because he was flinging pancakes, gyrating his hips, skip clapping, and smiling. And the other half was obviously shitty creative. So Big E's ultimately doomed to fail because of shitty creative, because they rarely book someone correctly, on the main roster specifically. But part of the reason would be because of the New Day antics. There's a way to be energetic, there's a way to be charismatic, and there's a way to be entertaining, but maintain that level of seriousness and focus. Big E can do that. We've seen the promos on Talking Smack. He can be energetic, charismatic, and entertaining, but maintain that level of severity and focus. He doesn't need to do the New Day shtick, and he should not do the New Day shtick. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why they are maintaining this New Day shtick for Big E. I reported on an LFU that Kofi Kingston, he's not injured. Kofi was not injured. Kofi Kingston is out on vacation to spend time with his family and self-quarantine for 2 months before he comes back, which is understandable. He wants to spend time with his family, no problem. But think about this. Think. If Kofi Kingston had never requested to take time off to spend time with his family during this time, do you honestly think that WWE would be pushing Big E as a singles guy? Do you think that Cesaro and Nakamura would be the tag team champions? No. Big E and Kofi would still be the SmackDown tag team champions, or they would have lost them to Cesaro and Nakamura regardless, and then they would have won them back at SummerSlam. They are pushing Big E because they have no choice. They're pushing Big E because they have no choice but to, because the main event scene on SmackDown Live sucks, and I've said it for months. I've said it for the entire summer. The upper mid-card to main event scene on SmackDown sucks. They need all the help that they can get. So they're pushing Big E as a singles guy to fill a void. Why hasn't Big E dropped the New Day antics? It's because WWE does not have any long-term plans for Big E as a singles guy. They don't want Big E to be a singles guy. Vince McMahon does not want to break up the New Day. He doesn't. If it was up to Vince McMahon, the tag team division would be the New Day and nobody else. He would keep the titles on the New Day, and they would become a prop of the New Day. Not that they have any prestige as we speak right now, but regardless, Big E and Kofi Kingston would be the tag team champions, and no one else would get the spotlight. It's the same thing with the women's division and Charlotte Flair. If it was up to Vince McMahon, Charlotte Flair would be the only person in the championship title scene. Vince McMahon wants to revolve the tag team division around the New Day, and the New Day only. There are no long-term plans for Big E as a singles guy. I'd be shocked if Big E goes into the Royal Rumble and wins, and he gets a match for the Universal title. Even though I want to see it, even though that's the correct route to go, I can't see it happening because there is no plans for him as a singles guy. The farthest that Big E's going to go in this current run is he's going to get an Intercontinental Championship match sometime around October, because I can see Sammy and Hardy fighting over the Intercontinental Championship at Clash of Champions, which I believe is on the 27th of September. I can see Big E getting the winner of that match at the pay-per-view in October. He's going to lose, and then by that time, Woods will be back from injury. Kofi is going to be back from his vacation, and they're going to get a tag team title match against Cesaro and Nakamura, and the tag team titles are going to be right back on the New Day, and boom, we're back to square one. Simple. That's why they haven't dropped the New Day antics. That's why Greg Hamilton comes out and he announces Big E as a member of the New Day. That's why Big E still does his New Day intro. That's why Big E is still gyrating his hips. It's because Vince McMahon does not want to get rid of the New Day. Vince McMahon wants to put the titles right back on the New Day because they are Vince McMahon's creation, and he wants to revolve the division around them. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but that's actually detrimental to the show, to Vince, to the titles, and to the New Day members themselves. That's not doing anyone any favors. That's actually holding them back. That's actually making things worse. That's actually having an adverse effect, because if more people see the New Day getting constant title reign after title reign after title reign over and over and over again in such a short period of time, then the people are going to complain even more. I complained that the New Day were getting too many fucking tag team title matches over and over again. At that point, the New Day are going to be looked at as individuals that people don't want to see, period. And they're going to have go-away heat. The New Day, as we speak, they're pretty much the Charlotte Flair of the tag team division. It's going to have an adverse effect. You realize how great those three men could be as singles guys? Kofi Kingston, if he was the Kofi Kingston, the underdog babyface from 2009, 2010, that we all knew and loved, we all fell in love with, I guarantee you his WWE Championship reign would have been just a little bit better. Xavier Woods is perhaps the most underrated member of the New Day. I'd love to see Xavier Woods in NXT, in the NXT Cruiserweight Championship division, fighting guys like Escobar and Swerve and Kushida and Cameron Grimes. I'd love to see him in the North American Championship title hunt, fighting Gargano and Priest and Bronson Reed and Austin Theory. That would be fucking great. Be great for Xavier Woods. But Vince McMahon, he does not want that. Vince McMahon wants to revolve the division, the tag team division, specifically around the New Day. That's why Big E has not dropped the New Day antics. There is no long-term plans for Big E. They're pushing Big E as a singles guy because they have no choice but to. Because the main event scene on SmackDown sucks. And as soon as Big E gets a sniff at a singles championship, he's going to lose. He's going to lose the championship. He's going to lose the championship match, and New Day members, Kofi and Xavier, they're going to come back, they're going to get a title shot, they're going to win the tag team titles back, and we're going to be right back to square one again. I can't think of any other reason why he hasn't dropped the New Day antics. He is not going to be taken seriously. He's not going to be taken seriously as a singles guy if he doesn't drop the New Day antics. It's plain and simple. That's the reason why Kofi Kingston's title reign as the WWE Champion last year sucked. Facts are facts. You can't deny them. And if you deny them, you only make me look smarter. And you only make yourself look like more of an idiot than you really are. Who am I kidding? You are an absolute, you people are absolute fucking idiots regardless. There are no long-term plans for Big E as a singles guy. They're pushing him because they have to. That's why he hasn't dropped the New Day antics. He's going to get an IC title match in October. He's going to lose. New Day's going to come back. They're going to win the titles. Simple as that. People are getting their hopes up for something that isn't going to happen. There's a 99% chance that this is not going to happen. This is a 1 in a million chance that this is going to happen. This is the WWE we're talking about. You need to open your eyes. The WWE has a long track record, 99% of the time, that they always drop the ball with someone and they always let the fans down. They always find a new way to give the birdie to the fans. And that's exactly what they're going to do here with Big E. Matt Riddle versus Baron Corbin. Moving on here. The bodacious barefoot bro, I believe, who is it? I can't fucking remember. I think it was Sarah Schreiber that was interviewing Matt Riddle in the back, and she called him the bodacious barefoot bro. You knew that was a Vince McMahon initiative right there. They're trying to make Matt Riddle's character all about his feet. But the match itself wasn't that bad. Fairly decent match. Nothing special, but fairly decent, and we did get the right outcome. Baron Corbin, he actually attacked Riddle right out of the gate. Riddle went after the arm of Corbin, tried to wrench on the arm early on. Riddle tried for a sleeper. Corbin kept Riddle at bay for the early portions of the match. We had Matt Riddle catching Corbin with a roundhouse kick. Corbin fell to the outside. Corbin came back in the ring. He was hit with a Broton and a PK for a 2. We had a deep 6 by Corbin for a 2. We had Matt Riddle catching Corbin with a bro to sleep and the floating bro for the win. Fairly decent match. Nothing special whatsoever. Nothing that you're going to go back and rewatch. But Matt Riddle gets the win over Corbin, as he should. And I actually tweeted out too soon because I said, can we please move on from this horrendous feud between Corbin and Riddle that's barely given Riddle any TV time. They actually called this win an upset. That was fucking idiotic in its own right to call a win over Corbin an upset. Meanwhile, that's all Corbin has been doing for the last year. Losing and losing and losing. I can't even remember the last time Baron Corbin got a win on pay-per-view. Matter of fact, I do. It was TLC 2019. That was the last time that Baron Corbin actually got a win on pay-per-view. Afterwards, Corbin attacked Riddle in the backstage area, and that was that. Looks like this feud is continuing going into Clash of Champions. Great. Fantastic. You're really doing Riddle some favors, WWE. He got the win over Corbin, as he should, in his first pay-per-view. That should have been it. That should have been it. But no. No, you had to continue the feud. Matter of fact, no, it's not on. Well, it's Big E and Sheamus in the background. Riddle and Corbin. You have to continue the feud after Payback. You're really doing Matt Riddle a lot of favors. You're killing all of his specialness. How to kill a wrestler's specialness 101. Put them in a feud with Baron Corbin. Decent match, right winner. But I cannot justify this feud continuing. Nobody can. The feud should not be continuing. And the only reason why it is because they have no creativity. They have no sense of, ooh, let's continue to build up Matt Riddle with opponents that we can actually use to put Matt Riddle over. We could have seen Matt Riddle and Sheamus. I'm still wondering why Matt Riddle and Sheamus wasn't the program going into SummerSlam weekend. Why do we need it to get Corbin? Corbin's a decent wrestler, but my God, this character sucks. They need to get rid of this King character. They really need to get rid of this King Corbin character. Moving on to Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I'm going to be honest here. I really was not expecting much from this match, but the match wasn't as bad as I expected. Now, this does not mean the match was good. This does not mean the match was good at all. This does not mean the match was great. This does not mean the match was watchable. I'm just saying that it wasn't as bad as we all thought it was going to be. Of course, Shayna, Sasha, and Bayley clearly carried this match. Of course. Nia Jax, she was just there. She was just there. I'm actually shocked that Nia Jax didn't fuck up in this match, and she actually didn't end up injuring someone. I actually thought she was going to injure Shayna, and they're not even facing each other. So Baszler, she worked on the arm of Sasha. Nia, she took out both Sasha and Bayley. Nia then tagged in. We had Nia with an elbow drop for a 2. We had Banks and Bayley targeting the knee of Nia. That was the main focus point of the match for Sasha and Bayley. We had Sasha reverse a powerbomb into a facebuster, which actually looked great. That was actually on Nia. Shayna actually tagged in Nia, said we could win, and then Nia got facebustered. We had a big elbow off the top by Bayley, and then a frog splash by Banks for a 2 count on Nia. Nia then tagged into Shayna. Shayna was the legal woman. Nia was taken out momentarily, and this was perhaps the best sequence of the match. This was perhaps the best sequence of the entire night. Shayna Baszler, she locked in a Muda lock on Sasha. She twisted the legs, locked the legs behind her calf, and she locked in the Muda lock. And then she fell back into a Karafuda clutch on Bayley. Sasha and Bayley were both in pain. Sasha tried to grab Shayna Baszler to stop the submission of Bayley because Bayley was the legal woman for her team. And Shayna's like, no, fuck this. I'm using this against you. And she pulled Sasha's arm over Bayley's throat. And she pulled Sasha's arm and wrenched on Sasha's arm and choked Bayley out with Sasha's own arm. And Bayley tapped out. And we have new women's tag team champions. That ending was excellent. That just goes to show you how great Shayna Baszler really is. Shayna Baszler is an absolute wizard. Fucking wizard when it comes to submission-style wrestling. Shayna Baszler is a fucking wizard. That ending was excellent. The match itself was not good. This was undoubtedly the weakest match on the main card. Undoubtedly the weakest match on the main card. And it undoubtedly had the wrong outcome. Shayna Baszler is excellent. Shayna Baszler is absolutely excellent. And that ending was flawless. But Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are your new women's tag team champions. And I said it on the rundown for Payback with Gamers Goon. Shout out to him. Great job, WWE. You managed to make me not give a shit about Shayna Baszler. And what's even more pathetic is this is Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss all over again. This is Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss 2.0. You pair a wrestler who can wrestle with a wrestler who can't wrestle. And you have them win the women's tag team championships. And just like Nikki Cross, I guarantee, I would bet my money, I would bet my life savings that this is the only championship that Shayna Baszler will ever get on the main roster as long as Vince McMahon still has air in his lungs. As long as he still has blood pumping through his veins, as long as his eyes are still open, as long as Vince McMahon still has a pulse, Shayna Baszler will only go this far. This is Shayna Baszler's ceiling on the main roster. And it sucks. It sucks because of how good Shayna Baszler really is. It sucks because of how good Shayna Baszler really is, and this is her ceiling. The same thing with Kairi Sane. Same thing with Nikki Cross. As long as Vince McMahon is still alive, this is all that they're good for. If you're not Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte, Becky, Asuka, or Alexa Bliss, or if you're not related to a famous wrestler, or if you don't look like you came out of Victoria's Secret, you're not going anywhere. This is all that Shayna Baszler is going to be good for. And you're telling me you couldn't have put Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott in that role instead of putting Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax in that role? Yes, I understand it advances the storyline, and Sasha Banks and Bayley, now things are really starting to get cooking. Now the wheels are really starting to turn. Now things are really starting to get interesting. I understand that. I completely understand that. Now things are really starting to get interesting, and now they could be building up towards that breakup between Sasha Banks and Bayley, which is fine, even though it's way too early. Now things are starting to get interesting, and Sasha Banks is going to be the SmackDown Women's Champion, but at the end of the day, you couldn't have picked anyone else. It had to be Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. And you wonder why people are losing interest. You wonder why people are losing interest, because you don't know how to build up your talent. Nia Jax should be on the fucking unemployment line. Nia Jax should have been fired with the 40, 50 other people that we had fired on Black Wednesday. Matter of fact, you let Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows go. You let Eric Young go. You let all these individuals go. You let Deonna Purrazzo go. You let Tainara Conchi go. You let Rachel Ellering go. But yet you keep Nia Jax. You keep the Iconics. The Iconics. You have the fucking Iconics getting longer matches than Cesaro, Gulak, Apollo, Andrade on the kickoff show. And then you have Nia Jax. She's in this non-existent feud with Shayna Baszler, which magically turned into a partnership, and now they're women's tag team champions. Regardless of how great that ending was, now we have to deal with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. I hope to fucking God that Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott win those titles at the next pay-per-view. I swear to God, I cannot fucking deal with Nia Jax as a champion in any shape or form. This made me not give a shit about Shayna Baszler. No matter if the match wasn't as bad as we expected, no matter how good Shayna is, no matter how good Bayley and Sasha are, it does not fucking matter. And you're telling me this couldn't have been Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. You couldn't have got them away from the Iconics. Or how about this? How about you have had Sasha Banks and Bayley retain the championships? Yeah, how about you have them drop them to Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott at Clash of Champions instead of Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax? How about you have Shayna Baszler go after Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship? Yeah, and then how about you build Shayna Baszler up as an unstoppable monster and have Bianca Belair take the title off of her at WrestleMania 37? Or is that too smart for you? Am I too smart for you, Vincent Kennedy McMahon? Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are your new women's tag team champions. Good job there. Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. Keith Lee, the limited one. Yeah, not limitless, he's limited. Why? Because he's wearing a shirt. Because he's fat. And he's got new theme music. We can no longer bask in his glory. We gotta bask in the genericness of his new theme song. Keith Lee, the limited one, versus Randy Orton. I was actually quite shocked that they cut this match so short. This actually surprised the shit out of me. Not really the fact that Keith Lee won, but the fact that it was so short. I actually thought that this was going to be the match of the night. I actually thought that this was going to be the show stealer. I thought that this match between Keith Lee and Randy Orton, this was going to be the standout match that everyone was going to be talking about. But this, I don't even think this went 10 minutes. I don't even think this went 10 minutes. I'll have to go back on Wikipedia and look at how long this match went. But this was actually one of the shorter matches. Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott versus the Iconics. That actually went longer than Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. This actually surprised the shit out of me. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's it? So, Randy Orton, he had a back suplex to Lee right out of the gate on the announce table. Orton slowed the pace down before Lee came in with a huge fucking pounce. And then Keith Lee did a back suplex on Orton on the table. Keith Lee was then caught with a draping DDT, and Orton was getting ready for the RKO. He was slapping the mat. He mounted himself ready for the RKO. Keith Lee reversed it, popped him up. Spirit bomb. One spirit bomb. 1, 2, 3. No Big Bang catastrophe. Just one spirit bomb and a 1, 2, 3 for the win. That was it. And Keith Lee pins Randy Orton clean. Keith Lee pins Randy Orton clean. I predicted Keith Lee. Orton is getting another WWE Championship match, undeservingly so. So, Randy Orton could have taken the loss and he would have been fine. Keith Lee pins Randy Orton clean. An absolute fucking shock that it only took one spirit bomb and it happened this quickly. I guess they wanted to get Keith Lee over in convincing fashion, which is fine. And I know a lot of people are going to be trying to come at me and come at people like me saying, oh, you see, you said that Keith Lee was buried. You said that Keith Lee was buried, but look, he pinned Randy Orton clean in under 10 minutes. Shut the fuck up and listen. Might I remind you that Shinsuke Nakamura pinned both Randy Orton and John Cena clean in the same month, just like I said on the rundown for Payback. Look at where he is. Look at where Nakamura is. He's had 4 championship title reigns on the main roster, and none of them have any memorable standout moments. None of them. Look at Keith Lee. He's been on the main roster for a fucking week. He's been on the main roster for a fucking week. Yes. He beat Randy Orton. Cool. We are 1 week in to his main roster title run. What is going to matter is not what happens in week 1. What's going to happen is what happens in week 30, week 40, week 50, week 60, week 70, and so forth. What we need to look at is what happens later on as the year progresses, and what we need to look for is what happens as 2021 begins for Keith Lee. That's what we need to look for. What we need to look for is if Keith Lee is challenging for the WWE Championship by next summer, which he should. That's what we need to look for. We need to look for if we get Keith Lee and Aleister Black at next year's SummerSlam. We need to look to see if Keith Lee is WWE Champion by the time the fall of 2021 hits. That's what we need to look for. We can't look for satisfaction now. It's all in what happens in the future. Keith Lee got a win over Orton, great. But what's going to happen in 2021 for Keith Lee? What's going to happen after WrestleMania 37 for Keith Lee? Is Keith Lee even going to be in a major role for WrestleMania 37? What's going to happen in the future? That's what we need to look forward to. We can't look forward to what happens now, because what happens now may not even mean anything to, 20 months down the road. 20 months down the road, how much is this victory over Randy Orton going to mean for Keith Lee? Based on WWE's track record, I'm predicting 0. I'm predicting it's going to mean nothing. Matter of fact, not even by next year. Not even by next year. I'm predicting that this win over Orton is not going to mean anything for Keith Lee by next month. By next month, that win at Payback against Randy Orton in such a short amount of time, that win's going to mean absolutely nothing for Keith Lee. Nothing. It's going to mean nothing for Keith Lee. Keith Lee wins in convincing fashion, rightfully so. I'm very happy for Keith Lee. Don't get me wrong. I'm very, very happy for Keith Lee. I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic for Keith Lee. He damn sure deserved this. But at the end of the day, is Keith Lee, really, do you have any faith in WWE to make Keith Lee a major player on the main roster? Look at what has happened with every NXT call-up outside of The Shield, Charlotte, Alexa, Bayley, Becky, and Owens. Outside of those, 9 individuals? Who has gone on to have immense success on the main roster? Nobody. Will this win mean anything by next month? I predict no. Why? Because WWE hasn't given me any faith to believe that this win is going to have a long-lasting effect on Keith Lee. WWE has not given me any faith to believe in Keith Lee on the main roster. Until they actually establish a track record, a trustworthy track record of good shows with good angles, the proper storytelling, the proper booking, the right outcomes, great wrestling. When they start establishing a good track record, then I will put my faith in them. Then I will have a little bit more faith in them. Then I will have a little bit more of a calm demeanor. I will have a little bit more of a relaxed demeanor. And I will believe that Keith Lee is going to be a major player. But right now, one win against Orton, I can't get behind Keith Lee being a major player based on the track record. Again, I state, Nakamura pinned both Orton and Cena. Where is he now? In a tag team title reign that's going to be forgotten as soon as he loses the championship. Keith Lee gets the win over Randy Orton in convincing fashion. I am shocked. Very, very shocked at how quick it was. Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio versus Murphy and Seth Rollins. Now this match was an excellent tag team match. Murphy and Rollins work very, very well as a unit, and so do Rey Mysterio and his son. So Murphy and Rollins, they isolated Rey before he got the tag to Dominic. Dominic tried for some quick offense, a swift crossbody, but he was caught by both men into an assisted Falcon Arrow, which looked very, very nice. The fluidity looked very, very nice right there. We had Dominic freeing himself from Murphy and Rollins' grasp. Tag to Rey. He picked up the pace. Swift moonsault to Seth Rollins. Tight package for a 2 count. We had Rey with a nice kick. He took out Rollins for the moment. Murphy broke up that pinfall. Murphy was on the receiving end of a swinging DDT by Dominic. Spiked him right on his fucking head. We had Rollins with a sling blade. A nice swift sling blade to Dominic. Everyone started brawling. Everyone was down. We had Murphy and Dominic Braun on the outside. We had Rey Mysterio and Rollins Braun on the inside. We had Rollins catching Rey with a swift super kick for a 2. Dominic was then taken out. Murphy and Rollins, they were setting up for the kill. They were setting up for the finish. They were setting up to put Ray. Rollins said, you're going to kick him in the head. They were going for a buckle bomb and Zaguri combo. Rollins was Hurricane Rana into the turnbuckle, which caused Murphy to accidentally kick Rollins and not Rey Mysterio. Rollins went headfirst right into the top of Buddy Murphy's boot. Dominic, he then came in off the tag. Murphy was in shock. He was trying to regain control. He was trying to revive Rollins, but Ray made the tag to Dominic. Ray with a sunset flip powerbomb, sliding underneath the bottom rope, sending Rollins into the barricade. Dominic Mysterio with a 619 frog splash in tribute to Eddie Guerrero. And Dominic and Ray defeat Rollins and Murphy, with Murphy taking the pin. This was a great tag team match. Undoubtedly the match of the night. Undoubtedly the match of the night. And I am very, very intrigued to see where they go. And based off of everything, especially the way that Rollins was looking at Murphy, the way that Rollins was looking at Murphy in disgust, and what the fuck was that? He was looking at Murphy in disgust and anger. Murphy was trying to explain that he accidentally kicked him. He didn't mean to kick him. Rey Mysterio Hurricane Rana Seth Rollins into Murphy. Murphy was already mid-kick. He couldn't stop himself. Based on that, it looks like the report that I reported about 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I did report that we were going to have Rollins and Murphy as a backup plan, and they were going to feud with each other. It looks like WWE may be putting those plans reported by Tom Colohue into effect. And you know what? I got no issue with this. Have Rey Mysterio beat Rollins, and then have Rollins go and feud with Murphy. Here's what I'm still wondering. We're probably going to get Rollins and Murphy at Clash of Champions, right? Either that or at the next pay-per-view. Why is it that Bobby Lashley is the United States champion? Why is it that Apollo lost? Why couldn't you have had Apollo retain? And then Murphy, if he was already going to split from Rollins and we were going to get a feud with Rollins as the heel and Murphy as Rollins' opponent, the babyface, why is it that we are not having Murphy defeat Rollins and then he gets a U.S. title match and he takes the title off Apollo Crews? Where's Ali? Where's Mustafa Ali? He returned about a month ago and now he's gone off of television again. Reportedly, Vince McMahon has given up on him. Good job, Vince. Given up on yet another individual. What has he done to make you give up on him? Why is it that Apollo is not the champion anymore? Why is it that Murphy is now more likely than not going to go into a feud with Rollins based off of what happened, and we are more likely than not going to get Murphy and Rollins, with Murphy coming out victorious, I hope. I'd like to hope, because if you're having Murphy and Rollins, then Rollins is going to come out victorious. Murphy's going to branch out and do his own thing, especially considering the rumors that Seth Rollins is looking to take a break. Becky Lynch is due December. Becky Lynch is due in December. So Murphy beats Rollins. Rollins now takes an extended break to care for his girlfriend and his kid. Care for his girlfriend or his fiance, his wife, and his kid. Murphy wins. Murphy's going to win. Why isn't he facing off against Apollo Crews for the U.S. title? Unless you're going to have Murphy face Lashley for the U.S. title, unless you're going to have Murphy beat Lashley for the U.S. title, but I don't see that happening. Not after everything that they built up Lashley to be. Not after the way that Lashley's been booked. Now, Ray and Dominic, here's what I can see happening. I can see Ray beating Rollins tomorrow. If he doesn't, then I can definitely see the feud ending at Clash of Champions. And then we get the breakup between Murphy and Seth Rollins. Murphy goes off and feuds with Seth Rollins. Rollins loses that feud and he takes a break. Ray and Dominic, now here's what I can see happening here. I can see Ray possibly challenging Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, and he should. Ray is probably the best possible challenger for Drew McIntyre after Clash of Champions. We're inevitably going to get another match between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. Inevitably. We're going to get another match between those two, and we're going to get Drew McIntyre hopefully beating Randy Orton like he should. Drew McIntyre beats Randy Orton. McIntyre beats Randy Orton, and then he faces off against Rey Mysterio at the pay-per-view in October, whatever it may be. Then we could possibly get Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre, champion versus champion at Survivor Series. Then we could possibly get Kevin Owens versus Drew McIntyre at the TLC pay-per-view. Then we get Drew McIntyre and Edge at the Royal Rumble. Then we get Aleister Black winning the Rumble, and he challenges Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Aleister Black wins the title then. That would be a great reign for Drew McIntyre. A great rest of his championship reign right there. But I can see Mysterio challenging Drew McIntyre after Drew McIntyre hopefully retains against Orton at Clash Champions. He could challenge Drew at the October pay-per-view. Then we can have Dominic and Rey in the tag team division. I always say that they need tag teams. If Rollins and Murphy are breaking up and Lashley's off doing his shit, he's doing his shit with the U.S. title, hopefully not for long, but Rey and Dominic in the tag team division, I definitely wouldn't mind seeing them versus the Profits. Matter of fact, that would be a much better match, a much better match than Angel Garza and Andrade again. Which I think that's probably where they're going. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we see Angel Garza and Andrade they win the titles from the Street Profits. The Street Profits lose. Maybe we see them win the titles from the Street Profits. Maybe, I wouldn't mind seeing Rey and Dominic versus Angel Garza and Andrade at WrestleMania 37 for the Raw Tag Team titles. I think that would be a great first match for Dominic. I think that would be an excellent first WrestleMania match for Dominic. We could possibly see that. But ultimately, this was a great tag team match. Definitely the best match of the entire night. Definitely, I would tell you to go back and rewatch it. All four men work well together, and it looks like they are definitely going forth with Rollins versus Murphy at a later date, possibly as we get into October. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, no holds barred, triple threat match. I don't know who the fuck produced this, but before I get into what happened, whoever produced this match needs to be absolutely fired on the spot. Absolutely fired on the spot. I don't know who the fuck produced this match, but whoever produced this match was fucking pathetic. Absolutely fucking pathetic. I don't know what it is with the main event productions of WWE main roster pay-per-views, but outside of Edge and Orton and then the Royal Rumble match, outside of those two matches, honest to God right now, I'm going to be quite honest, I cannot remember a good WWE main roster pay-per-view main event. I honestly can't. The last three WWE pay-per-views have had such shit main events. Honest to God, they have. I don't know who the fuck came up with this ending, but God, I can't even formulate words for it. Why is it that the match is starting without Roman Reigns? Why is it that Roman Reigns is coming out and he signs the contract after 85% of the match is already finished? It looked fucking ridiculous. We already know that Bray Wyatt is dead. We already know that Bray Wyatt is done. Regardless of whether he wasn't pinned, he's done. Bray Wyatt's done. So, I don't understand. I really don't understand why you couldn't have just had Roman, Strowman, and Bray start off the match. It would have made the match a hell of a lot better. And on top of that, Roman Reigns comes out. No new gear, no new theme music, no nothing. He just comes out and he low blows Bray Wyatt. Low blows Bray Wyatt, and he comes out as an opportunist, and he signs the contract after the majority of the match is done. Why is this match starting just out of the blue without Roman Reigns? It looked fucking ridiculous. I don't know who the fuck produced this match, but they need to be fired. And if it was Vince, fucking fire him. He needed to be fired 10 years ago, Vince. So Strowman attacked the Fiend right out of the gate, before his entrance was even over. We had a Uranagi through the announce table. Strowman then launched an announce chair at the Fiend. The Fiend was back up. He used a mallet on Braun. Shoulder tackle off the stage. And both men crashed through the tables. Pretty much SummerSlam all over again. This was SummerSlam all over again. Then we had a superplex. And the ring imploded. The ring was destroyed. Both men were down. Both men were down. And then Reigns' music hits. So we had a repeat from SummerSlam, except this time the ring imploded. Reigns' music hits. He walks out with Paul Heyman, signs the contract, and he kicks the Fiend. He kicks the Fiend in the balls. Well, before he did that, he tried to cover both men, and both men kicked out. He unloaded with chair shots on Braun Strowman, but Strowman still kicked out. He low-blowed the Fiend as the Fiend had the mandible claw on him. So Roman kicks the Fiend in the balls. The Fiend was taken out, spear to Strowman for the win, and that's it. Whoever fucking produced this match, you need to be fired. This was fucking horrendous, and you had no new attributes, no new visual features for heel Roman. Nothing. You had Roman Reigns come out with the same music, the same gear, and the only thing that's changed is that he low blows people now. So are you making him the new Shinsuke Nakamura? You gonna have him low blow everyone? I don't know what this was all about, but again, whoever produced it should be fired. How do you have Roman not even show up until the match has gone on for about 13, 14 minutes? Ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't know what they were thinking, and on top of that, it's bad enough that Roman was already going to win. We already knew that Roman was going to win. Fiend has the second shortest Universal Championship reign of all time. The Fiend has the second shortest Universal Championship reign of all time, and it doesn't matter that he wasn't pinned. He's still ruined. He's still ruined because you know why? After everything that's happened, and now that Roman Reigns is a legitimate heel, he's a legitimate heel, and he came back a week later, he's Universal Champion. Reigns shouldn't have even been in this match. Strowman shouldn't have even been in this match. This match shouldn't have even happened, period. No one was worthy of fighting the fucking Fiend. The only reason why this match took place is because WWE does not know how to build credible challengers for any fucking championship. This main event was terrible. Same shit from SummerSlam with Wyatt and Strowman, and Roman Reigns didn't even get there and sign the contract. I get he's trying to be an opportunist. But it looked ridiculous. It looked pathetic. I swear to God, it reminded, and honest to God, reminded me of what happened at Money in the Bank 2019. And honest to God, reminded me of what happened at Money in the Bank 2019 when Mustafa Ali, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Andrade, Finn Balor, Ricochet, and somebody else. Somebody else was in that match. Hang on. Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Ricochet. Ali, Orton, Andrade, and who else? Balor. Those seven men, they were in a match at Money in the Bank, in the main event. And they tore each other to pieces for 20 minutes in that match. They nearly fucking killed themselves for 20 minutes. And Brock Lesnar comes in. All he does is tip over a ladder, and then he climbs it and wins the briefcase. It honestly reminded me of the Money in the Bank main event, 2019, where Brock Lesnar, he did nothing but tip over a ladder. He did 30 seconds of work and climbed the ladder to win the briefcase. That's what this match honestly reminded me of. Whoever does that shit and has someone stay back until the match is almost over, only to pick the bones. There's a difference between that and what Seth Rollins did. Seth Rollins was Mr. Money in the Bank. That match was never meant to be a triple threat match. That match was meant to be Roman and Lesnar, and then Rollins cashed in. That That I have no problem with. That was interesting. That was creative. That was innovative. But how many times have we seen this shit? We've seen this shit with Lesnar. We've seen this shit with Edge and Vladimir Kozlov and Triple H back in 2008. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't know who produced this, but again, you need to be fired. Roman Reigns is the Universal Champion now. What does this mean? I don't know. I really don't know. Strowman, I hope he gets off of television, and I hope he never, ever sees the light of day again. Strowman should have been fired along with everyone else on Black Wednesday. Again, you fired Eric Young, you fired Heath Slater, you fired Gallows and Anderson, you fired all of these individuals, but you kept Strowman just because he's 6'8" and he's got big muscles, because he rides around in his pickup truck. He's got good tattoos, right? Because he fits your mold of what a superstar should be, right? Vince. I would have been so much more calmer if they would have just done a regular triple threat match without these shenanigans of Roman waiting until about 85% of the match was already finished. Roman Reigns is the Universal Champion. I hope to God they get him new music. I hope to God they change his gear. He's with Paul Heyman now. But this was a major disappointment. Horrendous main event. Atrocious main event. And a major disappointment for what is supposed to be a heel run for Roman Reigns. Same shit that they're doing with Big E. Disappointment on a singles run for Big E. A babyface singles run for Big E. A disappointment because he's still doing the New Day antics. Same thing with Roman Reigns. He's got a new theme music. He should have had new theme music. He should have had new gear. And he doesn't. Nothing. But outside of the main event and the pre-show match, Payback wasn't that bad. It was actually a lot better than I expected. A lot better than a lot of individuals expected. For a pay-per-view that we went into with 1 week of build and no expectations, it wasn't that bad. It will probably go down as the second best pay-per-view of the year, but that main event really left a sour taste in my mouth. It really is in the ending. They really need to do a lot better with these main events. They need to get their shit together, and they need to ditch this outside of the box booking. Just stick with the guys in the ring doing what they do best, or at least what Strowman tries to do and fails miserably at, and that's wrestle. Regardless. Just have the guys in the ring and have them put on a match. None of this overly convoluted bullshit. None of this thinking outside the box bullshit. Just put them in the ring and have them wrestle. Put them in the ring and have them fucking wrestle. Seriously, Baron Corbin and Matt Riddle put on a better match than the main event. Think about that for a minute. Baron Corbin, and Corbin sucks. Not even his fault. Corbin put on a better match with Matt Riddle than this main event. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Rewind. I am going to get out of here. I'm going to go relax. I got some schoolwork to do. I got the procedures to prepare for on Wednesday. I will see you guys for Raw tonight. I will be note-taking, live tweeting. We're going to have fun. We're going to have fun as you usually do. You always have a good time with DJ Storms. But till then, this has been the Rewind. You guys stay well. Be safe. Wear your fucking masks. And you guys have a great week. I will catch you on Friday for the rundown for AEW All Out 2.